Hello and welcome to Prime. Non-resident Indian behind the success stories. Here's the real picture too. One foot in India, the other in the country that said yes. Multiple cultures, multiple hassles too, and if caught in a legal tangle, it entangles the NRI doubly.
NRI, the very word conjures up images of success and well-being. But ask an NRI about it. Marriage, divorce, spousal maintenance, child abduction, domestic and inter-country adoptions, immigration, citizenship. For the NRIs, legal issues are a hassle all the more. Much can be attributed to the shortcomings in the law. It is this aspect that has been highlighted in the latest book on NRIs, which deals with issues and problems pertaining to the people of Indian origin over the years. Indians, NRIs and the Law is authored by Anil and Ranjit Malhotra and was released by British High Commissioner Sir Richard Stagg recently. The book is expected to be a great advantage to people to get basic knowledge of immigration. According to the book, there are 30 million NRIs settled in 180 countries, and the author feels that though different nomenclatures have been given to migrated Indians, the problems and grievances have only proliferated without legislative remedies or administrative redress. So, as the book puts it, times and people have changed, laws have not.
Indians, NRIs and the law. Where India fails the NRIs, where the law fails both. That's what we discussed today, and our guests this evening are Anil Malhotra, lawyer specializing in NRI affairs and who recently released his book, Indians, NRIs and the Law. Ved P. Vinayak, who's a UK-based hotelier, Justice Amar Dutt, a former judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court and chairman of the NRI cell of Chandigarh, and Gurpreet Deo, she is the Punjab IG for NRI affairs. Well, thank you all for being with us. And Mr. Malhotra, if I do begin with you, based on your experience as a lawyer, what are the most common problems that you are faced with?
I think it all starts with migration, that is illegal immigration and human smuggling. It graduates to marriage, then to divorce, then to problems of children, particularly abduction, then inter-country adoptions, now issues related to surrogacy. I think the issues pertaining to NRIs have proliferated to such an extent that statutory laws which were made in the 50s have missed them totally. So it is now, as I have coined, a complete whole NRI jurisprudence, or in common parlance, an NRI science of law. The law doesn't take care of them, courts do on a case-to-case basis because of our dynamic judiciary, and it tries to call out solutions on case-to-case basis. So it's not predominantly focused or looking at only an individual issue anymore. It is a very wide-based plethora of issues which we have identified in our book. I myself find that the issues are increasing ever since we put our first book together in 2005, second book in 2009. The issues seem to be expanding.
Right.
More and more.
When you say that, the issues are not, there's nothing that is really coming in to stop these problems. They're just growing. And with the numbers going abroad, our problems are going. So what really bothers you?
The issue which comes before me is, when I approach a court with a cross-border marital dispute, an inter-country child abduction, an inter-country adoption, or now surrogacy, as the Supreme Court has seen, there are no solutions in statutory laws.
Okay.
The laws are silent. The legislators are not catching up with these problems. So the courts have to devise ways and means within the framework of existing laws and find solutions, because these are human problems. For example, a baby born out of surrogacy, the child needs a passport, the child needs a nationality. A child abducted from a foreign country, brought against a foreign court order, has to go back. There are two people who are fighting parallel petitions for divorce in a foreign country and in India. There has to be a resolution. Now, where are the answers? In the system, out of the system, in the box or out of the box? This is what poses the real issue today.
Yeah. Justice Dutt, if I come to you, of course, he says there's no law per se. The courts are trying to find something.
He's already approaching the High Court and the Supreme Court.
But what would...
You see, it's nice of him to put it that way. But 226 and 32 articles should give him a that kind of he should not be making a grouseable of the legal system out here. And sooner than later, the High Court or the Supreme Court would give him that those observations, calling upon the legislature to take adequate measures. Until that is done, the law as laid down or declared by any of these courts of record.
So according to you, there are not really any shortcomings in the law?
No, I think the problems, the courts meet the problems as and when they come before them. They will cull out the legal solutions.
So in other words, Gurpreet, if I bring you in, is it the implementation of problem?
No, I think that I would tend to agree partly with Mr. Malhotra and partly with Justice Amar Dutt, taking a diplomatic channel here. That you know, there are some deficiencies in the law, and there is some deficiency in international collaboration, because now, for example, when you talk about the law, we have lots of NRIs residing abroad, and they have property over here. Sometimes they give it on a tenancy to some tenants, and then since they are settled abroad, it becomes very difficult to check out a tenant who is you know, not willing to go out.
Yes.
But of course, Justice Amar Dutt would also bear me out that an amendment has been made, and now an NRI, if he requires a property for his, he can show that he requires a property for his personal use, and it's a residential property, he can get it evicted speedily. But even that speed which the NRIs desire, because they are settled abroad and they have very little time at their disposal, they get very little leave from their work, they have other family issues, so it becomes difficult for them to follow up.
Right.
And the criminal justice system being a little complicated for them to follow.
I think she's right, because the point is the NRIs don't have the time.
You see, the point is, NRIs have no one to rely on in the country.
Okay.
Right? There is no government system which looks after NRI property in their absence.
Yes.
You can, Gurpreet can cull out something and put it to the authorities. Again, the person who is going to be made in charge, he would be able to play havoc.
Right. So according to you,
So
you feel
it's a loss of faith.
yeah.
Loss of faith, not only in the government, even in their own relatives. NRIs would send money back, help the relatives to build a house, and when they come back, they say, look, Baji Asita.
We've heard these stories. Mr. Vinayak, if I bring you in at this point, of course, you know, we've seen NRI problems in India, and the law is coming in to help that. But what is it that you see abroad? You know, you've been there for a lot of time, and we see a lot of immigrants going there, getting their residence finally at whatever cost. You know, because it's the law. It's that, oh, you know, we'll finally make it better when we go abroad. But what are the kind of stories you hear when you're?
People who go over there legally, they are very welcome by the government and by the social people as well. People who go there illegally, that's the problem. And they go and find the jobs, and if the young people, they go trying to find their bikes, especially from the European countries. They go to churches, get married, and when they get caught, especially now, everybody is being watched. In all the churches where any Indians or Pakistanis or Bangladeshi are getting married, and they're being caught, a lot of them as well recently. There's the biggest problem over there who go without any legal documents.
Yes.
And then the people come here, NRIs, they face a lot of problem, as Justice Amar Dutt said.
Property to...
They keep sending them money here to brother or uncle or aunt or whatever. And when they come over here, and as long as they are happily staying there with their relatives, once they say, can we ask them account, what have you done with my money I've sent, that's when trouble starts.
Okay.
When the trouble starts, either they have to run away from here, or they're being exploited or being murdered as well in this country.
And I
Especially in
think
Punjab.
80% of the problem is that they are relying on the relatives and relatives are cheating them.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to ask you. What are the biggest problems? The सबसे ज़्यादा problems किन्हीं हैं that you face when you
See, what I feel that all the complaints as IGP, NRI, whatever complaints we have received, I would say 80% of them pertain to property disputes. And out of those 80%, I would say 90% pertain to allegations against their own relatives. So maybe
Exactly.
one generation apart, or real brother sisters also. So there are cases where the real brother has cheated the sister, he's ill-treating the mother, and the cousins taking over the property.
So what does the law do in this
There is
situation?
another angle which is very prevalent in the UT. NRI properties which are left unattended, someone breaks into it
Yeah.
and files a suit for permanent injunction saying that I am a tenant, claiming tenancy, and says the man is trying to throw me out. So that thing lasts out for a lifetime practically.
So I would just add to it, the problem of land mafia. So we have these people who are trying to illegally grab the property of NRIs who are not really looking after the property well, in the sense that their relatives are also busy over here, they are busy over there. So there is nobody left to look after, and to the extent that they forge documents and they put up people, substitute the real person and show him to be the real owner, and sell the property.
There is a case with us. The lady, the tenant was depositing rent in an account, bank account, to show tenancy.
Yeah. Okay, now own account. Mr. Malhotra, I'm just going to go into a break, but before that, other than tenancy, other than property issues which are huge, and brothers and sisters के पैसे वापस दे रहे हैं and साडे relatives साडा फायदा उठा रहे हैं, which is a common problem. उसके अलावा, what would you say is the next biggest problem?
As far as the property issues are concerned, I think laws take care of them. There is a civil law, there is a criminal law. The question is only of implementation. But I differ with Justice Dutt when he says the laws are available and I can use the High Court jurisdiction or the Supreme Court jurisdiction. See, when there is a remedy for a marital dispute under the Hindu Marriage Act, I cannot jump to the High Court. I cannot go on a petition to the Supreme Court. Likewise, if surrogacy is not answered or human trafficking is not answered, basic statutory laws do not give any meaning or definition. For example, in matters of human smuggling, all people who go abroad illegally, the police registers case under section 420 IPC, which is cheating. 9 times out of 10 the case falls through because there is no evidence, nothing is documentary, and the person who goes after he comes back or it doesn't come back, he gets a part of the money and the whole thing flops. This is because human smuggling is not defined. The Punjab government has made a Herculean effort in enacting the Punjab Prevention of Human Smuggling Act. It is pending for the presidential assent. So what we really need is a workup. We need laws at the central level.
Right.
For example, marriage issues. We've now got a compulsory dictum from the Supreme Court has said all states must make rules for compulsory registration.
I'm going to take a very short break, but when we get back, we're going to be discussing the possible remedies to NRI problems. That's after this break. Welcome back, and in this segment we discuss the remedies for the NRI problems. Mr. Malhotra, that's where we left it. What would be a way forward? If I put it very simply, do you feel the state has failed them?
I personally feel that our laws need a workup. The laws we made in the 50s require a little compatibility. I give you an instance. Irretrievable breakdown of marriage is not a ground for divorce in India. 99% decrees obtained from foreign courts by foreign spouses or Indian spouses residing abroad are on this ground. Though irretrievable breakdown of